Welcome to the session on straight line equations, review exercises. The objectives for this session are to review previous topics through exercises, namely, finding the intersection point of two straight lines, simplifying square roots of numbers where possible, and making y the subject of a linear equation. Pause the video and have a go at these review exercises. When you are ready to view the solutions, press play. So let's take a look at review exercise 1a. We are required to find the point of intersection of the following: y equals 2x plus 3, which is labelled as equation 1, and 5y equals x plus 24, which is labelled as equation 2. Before we delve into this, let's take a look at the steps involved to solve equations. The first step is to make coefficients of x or y the same. Then subtract the equations to eliminate x or y. Next, find the uneliminated variable. And finally, substitute into one of the original equations to find the eliminated variable. So let's carry out the first step. So either we make the coefficients of x the same or the coefficients of y the same. We are going to make the coefficients of x the same. So let's multiply equation 2 by 2 to give 10y equals 2x plus 48. As shown. Now we subtract equation 1 from equation 2' in order to eliminate the x's. So subtracting gives us 10y minus y is 9y, 2x minus 2x is 0x, and 48 minus 3 is 45. And tidying up gives us 9y equals 45, so we can now proceed to find the uneliminated variable, which is y in our example. Dividing both sides of the equation by 9 gives y equals 5. And finally, we substitute into one of the original equations to find the eliminated variable. So let's substitute y equals 5 in equation 1 to give 5 equals 2x plus 3. Rearranging this gives us 2x equals 2, and finally dividing by 2 gives us x equals 1. So we have that x equals 1 and y equals 5. We should actually just check that these values are correct, and we can do so by substituting back in the original equations. So let's substitute into equation 2 because we've already used equation 1. 5 times y equals 5 is 25, and on the right hand side x equals 1 plus 24 is also 25. Therefore the left hand side and the right hand side both equal 25. And so x equals 1 and y equals 5 are the correct solutions for this exercise. Now for review exercise 1b. Let's go through a similar process. Let's make the coefficients of x or y the same. We're going to make the coefficients of y the same. And to do so, we multiply equation 1 by 3 to give 3y equals 9x minus 12, as shown. Now subtract equation 2 from equation 1' to give 3y minus 3y equals 0y, 9x minus 2x equals 7x, and minus 12 minus minus 19 equals 7. Next, find the uneliminated variable. So let's tidy up that equation to give us 7x equals minus 7. Dividing both sides by 7 gives x equals minus 1. And finally, substitute x equals minus 1 in the original equation 1 to find the eliminated variable. This gives y equals 3 times minus 1 from x equals minus 1 minus 4 to give y equals minus 7. And finally, check the values of x and y in the other equation. So substituting y equals minus 7 and x equals minus 1 in equation 2 allows us to check that both sides are equal. So 3 times minus 7 is minus 21, and the right-hand side also is minus 21. So we've checked that x equals minus 1 and y equals minus 7 are the correct solutions for review exercise 1b. Now for exercise 1c. Again, we either make the coefficients of x the same or the coefficients of y the same. We're going to make the coefficients of x the same. We will multiply equation 1 by 5 to give 15x minus 20y equals minus 30, as shown. And we will multiply equation 2 by 3 to give 15x minus 21y equals minus 33. Next, subtract the equations to eliminate x or y. So 15x minus 15x is 0x. Minus 20y minus minus 21y is minus 20y plus 21y, which is y. And minus 30 minus minus 33 is plus 3. And tidying up gives us y equals 3. Next, we substitute y equals 3 in equation 1 in order to find the other variable, or in order to find x. So substituting y equals 3 gives 3x minus 4 times 3 from y equals 3 equals minus 6. Rearranging this and tidying up gives 3x equals 6. And finally, dividing by 3 gives us x equals 2. And as before, we're going to check the values of x and y in the other equation. So let's use equation 2. And substituting x equals 2 and y equals 3, we do indeed get that the left-hand side equals the right-hand side equals minus 11. Therefore, x equals 2 and y equals 3 are indeed the correct solutions. And now let's have a go at review exercise 2. We are required to simplify the expressions shown on your screen. So let's solve review exercise 2a. The square root of 243 is equal to square root 3 times 81, which equals square root of 3 times 9 times 9, which equals square root of 3 times square root of 9 times 9, which of course equals square root of 3 times 9. And tidying up and expressing it in a conventional format gives us that this equals 9 root 3. And now for review exercise 2b. We're going to split 108 into its factors. So square root of 108 equals square root of 4 times 27. This equals square root of 4 times 3 times 9, and hopefully you'll be able to spot that square root of 4 and square root of 9 both have nice, neat solutions. So we can express this as 2 times root 3 times 3. And rearranging and tidying up gives us that this is equal to 6 root 3. And now for review exercise 2C. We're going to find the square root of 640. This can be expressed as square root of 64 times 10. Hopefully you'll be able to spot that the square root of 64 is 8. So this can be expressed as 8 times root 10. And now for review exercise 3A. We are required to make y the subject of the expression 4x plus 7y minus 14 equals 0. So rearranging this equation gives us 7y equals 14 minus 4x. We've simply added 14 to both sides and taken away 4x from both sides as well. This has allowed us to isolate the y's on one side. Next we divide through by 7. The 7's on the left-hand side cancel, this was our objective, to give us y equals 14 minus 4x all over 7. And of course 14 over 7 is 2, and minus 4 over 7 is left as it is. And now let's solve review exercise 3b. We're going to make y the subject of the equation 6x plus 5y minus 8 equals 0. We're going to rearrange this equation to give 5y equals 8 minus 6x. We've simply added 8 minus 6x to both sides in order to isolate the y's on the left-hand side. Dividing through by 5 so that we can cancel the 5's on the left-hand side gives us that y equals 8 minus 6x all over 5. Now, since 2 is a factor of both 8 and 6 inside the brackets, we can take the 2 out in order to factorize it as 2 over 5 times 4 minus 3x. And now for review exercise 3c. We're going to make y the subject of the following. 2x plus 8y minus 7 equals 0. Again, we're going to rearrange the equation by adding 7 minus 2x to both sides in order to put all the y's on one side. Divide through by 8, cancel the 8's on the left-hand side to give us y equals 7 over 8 minus 1 over 4x. This brings us to the end of this session. If you have understood its contents, you should be able to solve simultaneous linear equations, simplify square roots of positive integers, and make y the subject of a linear equation. Thank you very much for listening. Do attempt the exercises in your textbook related to this topic in order to understand it in greater depth.